Final exam review for Unit 2. Let's begin with the very first lesson we did in Unit 2. Let's arithmetic and geometric sequences. Do you remember the formula for solving these that I gave you for? Let's start with arithmetic. What does it mean to be arithmetic?
Adding or subtracting.
It's adding or subtracting. So sequences that add or subtract. And what's it mean to be geometric? Okay, and that's going to give you a hint on the formulas. They all start the same. How did they start? It's A, N, which means to find any term, you start with the initial term or the earliest term, which what do we use for that symbol? AK. Because these are adding, you can plus D times N minus K. That was it. There's the formula. The only difference with geometric, we do use G instead of A. At least I should say College Board did, is they use a letter G. So they would say Gn equals Gk. So they start the same, but here's where they go different. These aren't adding and subtracting. What did geometrics do instead? They multiply by R to the power of N minus K. There's your formula. Anything you need from that, you can manipulate that formula. So for example, if I gave you two terms and I wanted to know the common difference, just manipulate the formula. If you wanted the common difference, how would you get rid of the AK over here? Say it again. If you wanted the common difference, how could you get rid of this AK? Subtract. So if you subtracted AK from both sides, what you could also say is that AN minus AK will equal the common difference of N minus K terms. And divide by N minus K. And so we end up with D equaling AN minus AK over N minus K. It's almost like your slope formula. Change of y's over change of x's. It's the same premise there. So the blue is the actual formula for arithmetic sequences. On the right, we solved how you would get your D isolated. Okay, what about in GK? What if you had to solve for the, geometric? What if you had to solve for the rate there? What would you do to isolate to get the rate? Before that, gotta do something first. Divide. So if that's multiplying, you would divide by GK. Divide by GK. And so we could say R to the power of N minus K would equal Gn divided by Gk. If you were actually looking for R, you wouldn't have to log. If you think about it, if you had an N and a K, let's just say I had two numbers here, a 10 and a 2. You say 10 minus 2 is 8, and you can do it 8 groups. So you actually don't have to convert to a log here. Questions there? Can I move on? So we got a lot of material to cover. We did 15 lessons. That was the first lesson. I'm going to skip lesson 2. Lesson 2 tells us that arithmetic is very similar to what type of function? Arithmetic is like linear, and geometric is like exponential. I'm skipping that. I'm not going to review that. So I'm going to go into now lesson 2.3.